Welcome back to yet another live edition of on your, usual channel, your best channel for all football updates from the Premier League and beyond. So it's always good to be back with us. It's always a pleasure to have you guys back. And yeah, it's a bit of a late night once again because it's about almost 11:30 that we are coming to you live right now as we speak. But it's got to be done. It's got to be done. Like I keep saying, better late than never. Looks like we've not yet hammered out the exact timeline for which we do come live. But like I keep saying, it keeps on varying because of the changing times and needs and things of that nature. So please bear with that and do expect that in future broadcasts. All I do request is that you turn your notifications on so that you do not miss out on any single broadcast, so that you will be notified once we do come live on any day at any time. It's a Friday night. I do understand many of you could have gone out. Many of you are probably out there partying and things of that nature, really. And things of that nature. So it's really, really understandable on a Friday night. But it's a pleasure to be back. It's a pleasure to be back, really. Today there's plenty to talk about. Including the sacking of Ruud van Nistelrooy. So Ruud van Nistelrooy there who has been let go by Leicester City. Then updates are from the world of transfers. Of course, those ones never miss out on any given broadcast, including Brentford rejecting a bid Brighton and Hove Albion rejecting a bid from Newcastle. So I mean, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see in regards to how that comes about. But I hope you guys are doing well. I hope it's been a wonderful Friday. It's been a bit of a long one on my end. It's been quite tiring, if I'm being honest. Bogdan Games. Hi, Bogdan Games. How are you? Is that in Russian? What you typed, is that in Russian? Please like the broadcast. Do me the absolute favor and honor and like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel if you're new here, so that you help me on this path of growth on Footballtribe UG, and I'll really, really appreciate that if you do me the absolute honor. Then we'll speak about Olivier Giroud, who has returned to the French League One. We'll talk a little bit about that and so many other things, including Bryan Mbeumo. In tonight's broadcast. So I hope you guys do stay all with us for the length of tonight's broadcast. Just let me know where you're joining us from. Netflix problems. 456 has been eliminated. Okay. Please like the broadcast. Do me the absolute favor and like the broadcast, and also consider subscribing to the channel if you're new here, and help support this channel. Help me grow on this path. I'm coming to you live from Kampala, Uganda. As we speak, it's just 2 minutes to the half-hour mark of 11 p.m. East African time. I do not know what time it is on your end, but I do suspect it's probably somewhere 1:30 a.m. around India. So that's why, and for some cases, it should be somewhere around 9:30 p.m. In UK time and things of that nature. But thank you so much for those of you that do spare the time to join me every single night, every single day, as we speak about transfers, as we speak about football. We've spoken about the FIFA Club World Cup. We've spoken about transfers, your clubs. We've analyzed majority of them. I won't say all of them, but majority of them. We've looked at Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United. We've looked at Chelsea and the things they are trying to do in the transfer window. They are close to reaching an agreement for Jamie Gittens and things of that nature. But once again, like I said, let's start things off with Leicester City, because they have agreed on mutual consent to part ways with manager Ruud van Nistelrooy, who joined them after his interim spell at Manchester United, where he managed the club, I think, through 5 games, I think won 4 of those and drew only 1. Now, and then he went on to land himself the Leicester City job, which was quite the hot plate that literally burnt his managerial fingers or hands to a point of no recognition. At Leicester City, he was replacing Steve Hooper. He was replacing Steve Cooper, who had been sacked at the club. So that's who he was replacing at the time from Leicester City. So when he was sacked, he was then replaced by Rod Van Nistelrooy. And his task or his primary goal was to save Leicester City from relegation. Unfortunately for him, he was unable to accomplish that task, and then and they had to show him the exit, to send him packing, to say, look here, it's been a pleasure having you, but looks like this is not going to work out for you and us. So it's time for you to go. And he has been sent packing. So let's wait and see how everything really transpires in the next course of days, who they would look to replace him with, and we see. But that's official. He has been fired. That's at Leicester City. Then moving on from Leicester City, quickly we'll go to Manchester United, because there's some hot news there regarding their pursuit for Bryan Mbeumo, because he has told Brentford and Tottenham that he will only join Manchester United if he is to leave Brentford this summer. So there you have it, all Bryan Mbeumo suitors. I know Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham Hotspurs, and Newcastle United were all among suitors for the 25-year-old Cameroon international, but like we've spoken time and again, his pick is Manchester United. Whether you agree with it or not, that's what he's chosen. That's where his sort of destiny lies. That's his preference. And some reports go on to say that Andre Onana, the Manchester United goalkeeper, 29 years of age, a fellow countryman from Cameroon there, did quite a bit of groundwork to convince Bryan Mbeumo to choose Manchester United over any other club. Whether he's walking him into a trap, that remains to be seen, or is for the future to tell, but at least he's told all his suitors that Old Trafford is his preferred destination if he is to leave the G-Tech Stadium. Remember, Manchester United did submit an initial proposal of £45 million as guaranteed fees to try and sign him from Brentford, plus £10 million in expected add-ons. However, that bid was turned down. Now, according to reports, of course, Brentford do value the Cameroon international, who scored 20 goals last season in the Premier League and provided 7 assists. Is valued at about £70 million. Now, Manchester United have since gone back in with a fresh bid in the excess of £60 million. Now, from what we do gather, is that fee is about £55 million in guaranteed fees, plus £7.5 million in expected add-ons, according to The Athletic. However, Brentford still insists that is still short of the valuation of the player. Now, that total package in itself would come to about £62.5 million, exactly what Manchester United are paying or did pay or agreed to pay to secure the services of Matheus Cunha, the 26-year-old Brazilian international, who scored 15 goals in the Premier League last season and provided 6 assists, giving him a total goal involvement of 21. So again, like we've spoken on this channel before quite extensively, is that Brentford are using the benchmark of Wolves' Matheus Cunha going for £62.5 million as the benchmark to set the price for Bryan Mbeumo. And as you can see, they've set it at about £70 million at the time, when we know the other one costs 62.5. So you can see that the disparity is of about £7.5 million. Which in this particular case, Manchester United are offering to pay as expected add-ons if a deal is to be struck. Now, Brentford do insist that is still shy of the valuation. Now, I get the feeling that United may need to pay about 58 million pounds as guaranteed fees, and sort of shift the add-ons to about again leave it at about 7 million pounds to reach a final fee of about 65 million pounds. I believe that should be sufficient. The expectation is that personal terms won't be an issue since the player has already expressed interest in joining Manchester United. So that's according to the Athletic as of this, evening. So really, really impressive. Anyways, also some of the other key deals that are making the runs is Chelsea. Chelsea are pursuing Jamie Gittens, and they are really, really close with Borussia Dortmund on reaching an agreement for the signing of the 20-year-old England forward. That deal is really, really close. So, anyways, yeah, that deal is close or is expected to be sealed in the coming days. Let's keep our eyes peeled. We all know that Borussia Dortmund do value the player at about 65 million euros, although Chelsea had offered about 50 million euros in their second bid that was turned down prior to the kickoff of the FIFA Club World Cup. Throughout the course of this whole week, they've been engaged in discussions with Borussia Dortmund. The player has already agreed to personal terms on the 7-year contract. Now, of course, I missed their last game. That's for Borussia Dortmund, and according to their manager, in Niko Kovac, he did say that the player had sort of succumbed to the heat as well as the coldness in the hotel. Now, what is happening there in the USA is because it's summer, the heat is really, really, really high. I was reading a post by a fellow Ugandan who just recently, to be exact, this year, made the switch to the United States of America, having gotten a spouse there. And that person is an Arsenal fan called Amito Mitra. And she was saying she is a resident, she is a born of Bakwachi, arguably the hottest part of this country in Uganda. And yet she says she has never experienced the kind of heat that she is experiencing right now in the US during the course of the summer. So apparently Jamie Gittens sort of, got irritated by the heat, and then the hotel, because it's too hot outside, they make it too cold on the inside. So he suffered a mixture of that and apparently picked up a bug. But he's still a player at Borussia Dortmund. Chelsea are really, really looking to close that deal for about 50 million pounds in that region. But let's wait and see if Chelsea can seal that deal at least in the coming week or so. Meanwhile, Olivier Giroud has agreed to return to France, and this time around he will be joining Lille. Remember, Lille did have lost their striker in Jonathan David, who's been quite a pivotal striker for them in the last couple of years, including a 17-goal involvement last season, scoring 16 goals and providing 1 assist in the League One. Now, Olivier Giroud has agreed to join the French League One side when he does leave, his current club in the Major League Soccer. Now, you remember Olivier Giroud, I think it was around 2013 when he left France. That was at Montpellier. They just won the league. He left Montpellier and joined Arsenal. Becky Denny says, "My brother died. Please accept my sincere condolences for the loss of your brother. So sorry for your loss. If that is the case, it's quite unfortunate, but we do hope that God does strengthen you through this a tough time." But like I said, Olivier Giroud is eventually leaving Los Angeles Football Club to return to the French League One and play for Lille. There is expected to put pen on paper on a 1-year contract. His age is what? Is it 35, 36? Olivier Giroud he should be around that age, really. he's come of age. He's come of age already. In 10 matches, he's only scored 3 goals and provided 1 assist. That's for Los Angeles FC. He's 38 years of age. In fact, I was seeing a clip of him the other day with his former Arsenal manager, Arsene Wenger, of course, a fellow French countryman, there, trying to make, chit chat on the sidelines of the FIFA Club World Cup. So that's ongoing out there. Anyways, those are some of the major stories that are really making the rounds. Of course, there's plenty of transfer news. But then the other key story of the day was Keith Andrews, who has been announced officially, or who has been formally appointed as the new Brentford manager, replacing Thomas Frank, who did leave just recently to join Tottenham, where he does replace Ange Postecoglou. Now, Keith Andrews is a set-piece coach who had just joined Brentford, not too far back, but he has managed to convince his bosses that he is capable of taking on the reins in his first managerial career or job. So it's his first managerial job, and he will be now looking to recruit his backroom staff after putting pen to paper on a 3-year contract as the next Brentford manager. So, I wasn't too surprised, because even when they were appointing Thomas Frank back in, I think, October 2018, they still looked with him. Remember, Thomas Frank was an assistant coach to Dean Smith. Now, although that was closer, a transition to go from assistant manager or head coach, assistant head coach to head coach or manager, depending on how the title was defined at the time, this one seems to be a bit of a long stretch. If you're an Arsenal fan, and this is the easiest example that I can use, because I do know who the head coach for Arsenal is, and that's Nicolas Joba. Just imagine if Arsenal lost Mikel Arteta, and then, of course, if, let's say, he's moved on to join another club, he moves on with Steven. He's called Steven. Forgive, I'm struggling to pronounce the name. Arteta's assistant. Kindly indulge me. If you do remember his name, please type it for me there. But he's oftentimes referred to as Albert Stuvenberg. Yes, Albert Stuvenberg. Now, remember, just assume that he moved out with Albert Stuvenberg, and then, of course, we know Carlos Cuesta, who was the number 2 there, or number 3, sort of in, behind Arteta, has already joined Palmer as the head coach, and then maybe follows maybe Nicolas Joba. So they jump that whole queue and move to Nicolas Joba. So a bit of interesting dynamic there, and quite a bold decision, I must say, that they are appointing a manager like Keith Andrews to replace Thomas Frank, who has had quite the reputation, a very good reputation at Brentford. He guided them to promotion to the Premier League. That was in 2021, and then for the last 4 seasons, he's maintained them in good place finishes in as far as the Premier League is concerned. So can he get the job done? I was commenting in a certain forum about that news, and I was saying this is a huge gamble, and I was saying that it will either be a masterstroke kind of appointment, or it will be catastrophic. It will be catastrophic. So it can only go one of 2 ways. I do not think it will be anywhere moderate. It will either be very good or quite turn out to be a disaster. But let's wait and see. Now, remember, Brentford are on the verge of losing a couple of players. Bryan Mbeumo, possibly destined for Manchester United. Christian Nogard, if all goes well, will join Arsenal. Then Yohan Wissa, the 28-year-old Democratic Republic of Congo international, could be seeking a move away from Brentford as things stand. And you never know who else may leave. They've already lost Mark Flacken, that's a goalkeeper. He's since moved on to join Bayer Leverkusen. And he has been replaced at Brentford by last season's Liverpool's number 2 in Kelleher, So let's wait and see how everything does play out. Anyways, moving away from Brentford, let's go quickly to Atletico de Madrid, because today they did reach an agreement with Villarreal to sign Alex Baena, the 23-year-old Spanish international, for about 50 million euros. 45 million euros as the transfer fee plus 5 million euros in expected add-ons. Now, again, that becomes the third signing for Atletico de Madrid, because previously they had reached an agreement to sign Matteo Lugeri from Atlanta, that's the left back, for 20 million euros. That was agreed upon yesterday, and the player is expected to travel for his medicals. While I think a day or two prior to that, they had agreed on a fee of about 30 million euros to sign Johnny Cardoso from Real Betis. So brilliant stuff there for Atletico de Madrid, who are looking to strengthen their side and perhaps challenge for the Spanish La Liga title next season. Diego Simeone is a very interesting character, given how the kind of reputation he's built for himself around managing Atletico Madrid ever since he joined them, I think back in the season of, was it 2010, 2011, after when he replaced Sanchez, Enrique Flores Sanchez, yes, who had guided the team to the 2010 finals of the UEFA Europa League, in which they beat Fulham by 2-1. So he ever since he came in the doors, he's done quite tremendously well. I think 2 Europa League titles, 2 La Liga titles, of course, including 2 UEFA Champions League finals in 2016 and 2014. Started out a very defensively solid kind of manager who was very combative, a typical kind of Jose Mourinho when you rewind things back to 2004 to 2006 when he was at Chelsea. So, and that worked out quite well. But he since evolved into a sort of a more dynamic coach and to play more attacking football. Of course, I do understand. I think Correa could leave Atletico de Madrid this summer among a whole host of other players, but let's wait and see there. So Alex Baena will be an Atletico Madrid player next season. That is expected. In regards to, okay. Let's keep that as of that for now. Now, yesterday we did speak about Atletico Bilbao acknowledging that they had spoken to La Liga or La Liga officials questioning whether Barcelona were capable of registering players and remaining in sort of while abiding to the financial fair play rules. Now, Joan Laporta came to respond to that, and he said about he was being asked about Nico Williams, and he said pay Nico Williams clause. He says if there is an opportunity in the market that requires paying a release clause, Barcelona is ready to do what is necessary. Now, that is not a guarantee that they will pay it, but a president of Barcelona wouldn't say that no, you see, we cannot afford that, or we will fail to pay that. He has to give confidence to the player, but also to communicate that Barcelona are in a very strong position should they want to sign any player that suits them. And in this particular case, they are targeting Nico Williams. We all know that personal terms are not an issue. In any case, they are as good as agreed on a 5-year contract, with a gross pay of about 12 million euros. But that deal is yet to be done, because it did come at a time when Bayern Munich were interested. In any case, if Atletico Bilbao were to lose Nico Williams, they would rather they lose him to a foreign club as opposed to strengthening one of their La Liga opponents in Barcelona. That would be the ideal situation. But in this particular case, the player does prefer to join Barcelona over any other suitors, including Bayern Munich, Arsenal, and Chelsea, and previously Liverpool, were reported to have registered, some level of interest in the 22-year-old Spanish forward. So let's wait and see how that. I think it could go on to be one of the transfer sagas of this transfer window in as far as European transfer deals are concerned. Then he further spoke about the renewal of Frankie de Jong's contract. As he said, the renewal of Frankie de Jong is going in the right direction. We want him to stay for many years. He is a pillar of the team. As Koeman says, I hope he stays. He wants to stay, and I know he is happy at Barcelona. I don't see any major problems. So there you have it from Joan Laporta. So, I mean, basically that's it from some of the major transfers or stories of the day in regards to transfers. We've spoken about Bryan Mbeumo, we've spoken about Jamie Gittens, we've spoken about Keith Andrews being appointed at Brentford as a replacement for Thomas Frank. We've spoken about Olivier Giroud leaving Los Angeles after their next game against Vancouver, and then he will join Lille there in France. So those are some of the major stories that are ongoing. Then, so at Chelsea, they are suitors for João Felix. He is attracting interest from some Saudi Pro League clubs. But away from that, quickly, let's run to Newcastle, because Newcastle have had a bid in the region of £50 million turned down by Brighton and Hove Albion for the signature of 23-year-old Brazilian forward in João Pedro, who scored, I think, 10 Premier League goals last season. Very, very good player there, João Pedro. He has been linked with multiple clubs, including Arsenal and Chelsea, as well as Newcastle. But it is Newcastle that have firmed up their interest in wanting to sign João Pedro from Brighton and Hove Albion. So, but however, their opening bid has been rejected. So, hardly do you remember a time when a club went in to sign a player and their first bid was was accepted? It doesn't happen quite very often. So this is quite understandable, and possibly Newcastle will be looking to go back with an improved bid. But last season, in 27 appearances, managed 10 goals and provided 6 assists. Remember, they are trying to strengthen their forward line because they have Alexander Isak, but they do not want to be overly reliant on Alexander Isak, so they are looking to bolster their front line by adding João Pedro, who is keen on joining Newcastle. However, Newcastle may need to act at least fast to fend off any other potential suitors. You never know. Chelsea may swoop in at the very last minute and beat you to the punchline, because they are really, really capable of that. They tend to promise players all the heaven and earth to join them at Stamford Bridge. So apparently, it's Newcastle and another unnamed Premier League club have both had bids rejected in the past few days. Now, if you talk about another unnamed club, I want to assume it is either of Arsenal or Chelsea, one of those two, because they are the ones that were really, really strongly linked with the potential move for João Pedro besides Newcastle. That's where my prediction is. I would go. I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm simply saying that will be my prediction. Then apparently Chelsea are not working on a deal to sign Emiliano Martinez, despite recent reports. However, if I'm Chelsea, I'll be running to Aston Villa to say, give me Emiliano Martinez, I'll give you Robert Sanchez and some little cash in addition to that. Or I'll be saying, give me Emiliano Martinez and I'll give you Felipe Jorgensen plus a bit of cash. Or I'll be running to Aston Villa to say, give me Emiliano Martinez and I'll give you Jody Petrovic plus some cash to sign the 32-year-old, I think he's 32, Argentine goalkeeper, really. Because if there's one position that Chelsea really, really need to improve on, because of inconsistencies, is the goalkeeping positions. Now, they have very good goalkeepers. However, I've come to the assessment that oftentimes they are a little too inconsistent, especially their number one in Robert Sanchez. Today he will give you a stellar performance, then tomorrow he will under-deliver, then tomorrow he will give you an average performance, then the following day you will think he's the goalkeeper of the season, and things of that nature. So I feel he's a little inconsistent, and he's one that they should be looking to replace in the course of this summer. And to their defense, they've already expressed a willingness to replace him when they made a move for Mike Maignan. That's the AC Milan goalkeeper, 29 years of age, for the French international. So it is indeed true that although it's not a priority at the moment, as far as Chelsea go on to say, I mean, if there's an opportunity to get a better goalkeeper, I think they will leverage on that opportunity. I think they will grab it with open arms and run away with it and try to get a new goalkeeper in, should that be the case. Okay, yes, so that's the situation around Chelsea. That's the situation around Chelsea. Now, yes, okay, let's leave that at that. Of course, yesterday we spoke about Timothy Weah. He's unwilling to join Nottingham Forest, who have been really interested in signing him from Juventus. So he doesn't want to join them. Then Paraguay winger Ramon Sosa is set to join Pyramids for £10 million from Nottingham Forest, club-to-club agreement in place. So let's wait for that deal also to go on. Quickly, let's run into some of the latest, transfer gossip, as well as the speculation coming in at this moment in time. And we'll kick things off with Bournemouth, because Bournemouth apparently will stand firm amidst interest from several clubs for their 25-year-old Ghanaian international in Antoine Semenyo. Now, they want £70 million. I do not think in any world whatsoever that Antoine Semenyo is worth £70 million. Not even if you're the US Federal Reserve and you're the one printing the dollars. Not really. I honestly do not think he's worth that. Anyways, because if he is worth that, then Bryan Mbeumo should be worth at least 80 or even £85 million. If indeed. Anyways, Manchester United, Newcastle, Tottenham, and have all been put off by Bournemouth's asking price or price tag for the 25-year-old Ghanaian forward Antoine Semenyo, with the Cherries demanding up to £70 million. That's according to the Eye. Arsenal are hopeful of agreeing a deal to sign 21-year-old Spanish defender Christian Mosquera after holding talks with Valencia. Now, guys, let me clarify for our usual suspects a little bit about Christian Mosquera. That's the Valencia centre-back who has attracted interest from Arsenal, Bayern Munich, as well as Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen, RB Leipzig, among a host of other clubs, including Real Madrid, by the way. Now, yesterday I know I was telling you he's 20 years of age. Yes, please, when I say 21 years of age now, do not say which is which, or was I lying yesterday, or had I gotten it wrong. Today he turned 21. Today is his birthday, June the 27th. So there you have it. So he turned 21. He's now 21 years of age. That's Christian Mosquera, who the Spanish international there, a right-footed centre-back, but he's quite comfortable playing at the right back, but also with his left foot, so you never know. Then Cameroon midfielder Bryan Mbeumo, 25, has informed Brentford, we've spoken about that, of his decision that his priority will be Manchester United. Everton's 23-year-old England centre-back Gerard Braithwaite is set to sign a new 5-year contract with the Toffees. Also optimistic, Senegal midfielder Idriss Gana Gueye, that's 35 years of age, will sign a 1-year deal. Now, Idriss Gana Gueye, I mean, go for it. At 35, I think he still got it. He still has the gas to run, at least 75 good minutes on the turf on any given day in the Premier League. Then Bundesliga side RB Leipzig are the latest club to express their interest in signing England midfielder Harvey Elliott, the 22-year-old England international. They are currently at Liverpool. But remember, Brighton and West Ham are among the other clubs that are expressed a certain level of interest in signing Harvey Elliott. Remember, Bayer Leverkusen had wanted to include him as part of negotiations for Florian Wirtz at the time when they thought Liverpool were failing to meet their, asking price for the 22-year-old German international. So Harvey Elliott is one of those players that are at Liverpool that whose situation we need to keep an eye on, as well as Andy Robertson, although I do not think that after signing Matteo Lugeri that Atletico Madrid could be back in to try and sign another left back. But let's keep an eye on those, as well as Ibrahim Konate, who is going to enter the last year or the last 12 months of his current Liverpool contract. Then Feyenoord midfielder Anthony Milambo is said to become Keith Andrews' first signing at Brentford. I don't know, somebody was trying to send a message, but it looks like, I don't know if they deleted it or it was retracted. But let's wait for it. So Anthony Milambo is said to become Keith Andrews' first signing as Brentford boss, with the Bees in advanced talks to sign the 20-year-old Dutch attacking midfielder. That's according to the London Evening Standard. While Leeds have opened preliminary talks with Juventus and Brazil midfielder Douglas Luiz, 27 years of age, over a move to the newly promoted Premier League side. Douglas Luiz has equally attracted interest from Manchester United in the last couple of days. For those of you that are regulars on this channel, I've talked about him. Hi February. Good to have you back, my brother. Thank you for being with us. You know that I've talked about him in reference as a recommendation to Arsenal. If they want to replace Thomas Partey, because he's one of those players that I think is quite capable. Although he's been disturbed by a couple of injuries during the course of last season, which was a poor debut season for him at Juventus. I think there is still a very good player in there in Douglas Luiz. Then West Ham are interested in signing 22-year-old United States midfielder Yunus Musa from AC Milan, with Nottingham Forest also holding talks with the former England youth international. Now, Yunus Musa is one of those that has also attracted interest from the likes of Napoli. So, he will be another one to watch as during the course of this transfer window. And then it goes on to say that, however, Forest have ended their interest in 25-year-old Juventus winger Timothy Weah after the United States international rejected the club's contract proposal. Forest had agreed a deal of about £19 million with the Italian club for Weah and Belgian winger Samuel Bangula. That's according to ESPN. We've spoken about Newcastle's bid being rejected by Brighton and Hove Albion for João Pedro, while Aston Villa faced competition from Italian duo Juventus and Lazio in their pursuit for 23-year-old Lens midfielder Neil El Anoui, a Moroccan 23-year-old international. While Crystal Palace's Eberechi Eze is among the forward players Arsenal are interested in signing, but Tottenham also keen on the 26-year-old England international. By the way, Eberechi Eze also very soon will be turning 27 years of age. So, for those of you that are interested in his services, bear that in mind that very soon he will be turning 27 years of age. Actually, in about 2 days' time, because on June 29th, he will be turning 27 years of age. He's a former Arsenal Academy member at LN. He was let go, I think, at around the age of 13. He went on to clubs like Ipswich, Fulham, and before he did play at Crystal Palace. At Queen's Park Rangers. That's where Crystal Palace saw him in August 2020 and signed him for about 18 million euros. And he has a release clause of up to 68 million pounds, plus 8 million pounds in expected add-ons. Now, with the player only having 2 years left to his contract, but also the club knowing that this time is the best time for them to get the best value for money in a player like Eberechi Eze, then they may consider apparently negotiating for a slightly lesser fee as opposed to sticking to the £60 million, maybe something like 50 to 50 million pounds could be enough for those suitors in Tottenham, Arsenal, that are really, really interested in his services. But let's wait and see in regards to how everything will transpire for the 26-year-old England international. As far as last season is concerned, he had a goal contribution of 16, 8 goals and 8 assists. The season before that, he had a goal involvement of about 15, 11 goals and 4 assists. Then when you want things further back, for the 2022-2023 season, he scored 10 goals and provided 4 assists. So clearly those numbers, when you look at them, that kind of level of consistency and continuous improvement, by the way, in any case, as slight as it may be, then you really, really do understand why teams like Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspurs are really interested in his services. That's for ability easy. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on that story as well and see whether it will yield any fruit. So I mean, that's the latest from the transfer gossip, from the transfer speculation on your world of transfers, from mainly from the Premier League, but also and slightly beyond, because things are happening quite thick and fast, I must say. But Tom Heaton has formally put pen to paper on his 1-year contract extension at Manchester United as the club's third choice goalkeeper. So that deal was as good as done as long as we can recall. Let's wait and see what will come good of that. Then Liverpool have confirmed that Freddie Woodman has joined on a free transfer after leaving Preston. Freddie Woodman is joining Liverpool as a third choice goalkeeper for the Liverpool fans. I know Mario Momoto usually comes here and asks whether there's anything interesting about Liverpool. So there you have it. Freddie Woodman is joining Liverpool after leaving Preston North End as a free agent. So, I mean, that's quite a dream deal. You get let go of Preston North End and then you join the Premier League champions, Liverpool. How else better can life be if you do leave Preston North End and then you join a team like Liverpool? I mean, that's as close as to picking a land title in your own names. So, I mean, really, there's no better way to put it, really. There's no better way to put it than that. Let's see if there's something from Germany here, briefly from Florian Plettenberg, because yes, okay. Of course, Bayern Munich are really pushing to sign that striker from Stuttgart. I forget his name. He's called Woltmed. Yes, Woltmed. Yes, that striker from Stuttgart. So he has already agreed personal terms with Bayern Munich. That's Nick Woltmed. But Bayern Munich are yet to officially make an offer to VfB Stuttgart. It could be an expensive deal, really, to pull off for Bayern Munich, but because the player just turned down a 2.5 million euro, wage contract renewal from Stuttgart, because Bayern Munich apparently are offering significantly higher than that, because they are offering up to about 7.5 million euros, and this sort of speaks to what we've been saying over the last course of days. Excuse me. This speaks to what we've been talking about in the last course of the last couple of days, when it comes to the financial muscle or power of some of these clubs or leading clubs in different leagues. When you go to the German Bundesliga, nobody rivals Bayern Munich. When you go to French League One, nobody rivals PSG. In years gone by, in Italy, nobody was rivaling Juventus really. Maybe Inter Milan often coming close. AC Milan have fallen sort of down the pecking order in the last couple of years. When you go to Spain, Barcelona and Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid within that bracket. But when you look at all the other clubs, really when it comes to signing players, they do not spend as big. So unlike the Premier League where you have a good whole chunk of clubs that are capable of spending £50 million on a player or more. You look at Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspur, Newcastle, all those Aston Villa, all those are teams that are capable of spending more than £50 million on a single player. So let's wait and see. PSG are still pushing to find a way to sign 22-year-old Ukraine defender. That's Eli Zabani from AFC Bournemouth. We do understand that negotiations are advancing really, really well between Paris Saint-Germain and Bournemouth, but the total package could reach up to about 70 million euros. That's according to Florian Plettenberg, who works with Sky Germany. So let's wait for that deal as well. Then Abdoulaye Faye has joined Bayer Leverkusen officially on a long-term contract. So he is joined from BK Hacken there. So very, very interesting news there from Bayer Leverkusen. Anyways, basically, then Fenerbahce are now pushing to sign John Duran with immediate effect. Remember, the 21-year-old recently joined Al Nassr from Aston Villa just recently in January, but Fenerbahce are trying to are really, really pushing to sign him, and he's very open to returning to Europe and signing for Fenerbahce. And new sporting director Devin Ozek is in Colombia for negotiations over a deal. Jose Mourinho wants him, and there have been direct talks between him and Duran. That's Jose Mourinho. I wish Safa Ali was here with us this evening to give us more on those reports, because he is a Fenerbahce fan as based in Turkey. He's often the one to give us the scoops from the Turkish giants in Galatasaray and Fenerbahce. So very, very interesting piece of business that could go on there for Fenerbahce. But let's wait and see. Anyways, that's, I think, the latest that you ought to know. I know I've not spoken about much about Arsenal and their pursuit for strikers or any other players. I've not spoken about Manchester United's pursuit for strikers, same for Liverpool and a defender. There's no new developments really on those fronts. That's why I've chosen to leave those stories out. But if there is any new developments, be sure we'll be here to bring them to you. But in the last couple of hours, apparently Arsenal have added Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson to their shortlist of striking targets. I do not want to believe this story. Not a single bit. Not an ounce of me wants to believe this story. But that's me speaking as an Arsenal fan, really. I wouldn't want us to be anywhere near a Nicholas Jackson. And I have my personal views that I wouldn't want to air out on this on this channel. So, anyways, guys, that's it for me tonight. I wish you a wonderful night. Stay blessed, and let's meet again tomorrow morning for tomorrow's broadcast. It's always a pleasure to be with you here. Keep it locked on the Footballtribe YouTube channel, and do not forget to always subscribe if you're new to the channel. For those of you that do watch our content after our live broadcasts are done, we do appreciate you really, really, really well. We do not take your time for granted. Prince Nkosi says, ha ha ha, Nicholas Jackson, good evening, my brother. I do not want anything whatsoever hearing any Arsenal being linked with a move for Nicholas Jackson. And that's not against him as a player, really. But I was on social media scrolling through my feed, and I saw a meme it was a short clip showing that every time Arsenal, every time there was a garbage bin or a dustbin with tagged Arsenal, and that every time Chelsea wanted to dump out some garbage, they came and dumped in the Arsenal bin. So, but that context notwithstanding, I do not think he is the right player for Arsenal, really. Not one bit, not for me, really. First of all, let me reserve my comments. Let me preserve my credibility for future deployment. But thank you guys. Pressing Kosi, I know you joined us at the tail end of this one, but I hope you're doing well, my brother down in South Africa. Thank you for always sparing a moment to be with us. However short it may be, I do really appreciate it, and I do not take it for granted or whatsoever. So it's been a pleasure doing this. Let's do this again tomorrow morning. Have yourselves a blessed night and a wonderful rest of the evening. Bye-bye. See you next time.